Hey, I don't think my first video really even posted. I think my phone's about 10%, so it probably wasn't wise of me to start filming right now, but I really feel like I had something to say that was kind of urgent. So I have a diagnosis of degenerative disc disease, and I've had sciatica pain for a long time, and here recently my ulnar nerve got pinched, and it's to where I can't feel my extremities, and I have this very painful blister on my finger because I cannot feel my hand, and so it's not very safe for me to be doing what I'm doing right now. But what I'm doing is I'm melting the paint off of boards and repurposing some things that I found, and I'm putting together a tiny house for myself, and then there's going to be space enough for my kids and my bonus kids, all my kids, and my, nieces and nephews or whatever to come over and crash. It's going to sleep about 8 people. Anywho, I've got kind of some painful stuff that I'm going through, but God has been very present, and He's been helping me a lot. And between sitting here and crying out to Him, it seems like most of us forget to cry out to Him until we're at the absolute end of our rope, and that was true of me too. I had kind of put my other earthly relationships in front of my relationship to God, and the reason I look like I look right now is because I've been bawling for half the morning. Anyway, I know that most people who don't have the experiences that I have probably aren't that interested, but if there is someone out there who's struggled with a mental illness, something that can't be seen on the outside, so when people look at you, they're like, hey, she seems normal and she puts on a good mask in front of people, but actually behind the scenes you're kind of just caving in and coming apart at the seams and everything. That was true of me as well. So I decided not to choose the path of self-medicating and spiraling down into depression and addiction, but someone I very deeply love, well, actually several someones that I very deeply love have gone down that path instead of facing them head on, and I'm not judging them. I just feel fortunate and blessed that I was able to instead dodge some of that stuff. And so my calling, I believe, is to that population, that person who has suffered behind the scenes and isolated themselves and not wanted to burden anyone with their problems, and just putting up a front in front of everyone in order to be popular or whatever. And you know what, in 100 years I'm going to be chilling with Jesus anyway, and none of this is going to matter. And so I'm not sweating it. It's sort of sucky when you're in the midst of it. And I just want you to know that you're not by yourself, that there are other people on the planet, and they feel probably a lot like you do, and they've been through the same crap that you've been through. But they're too afraid to put that out there on Front Street because of their image and whatever. And, we're all going gray around here, and I have decided that I'm not going to do anything about it. I like it, and I call them bling or wisdom highlights because I feel like this one, I specifically earned that one right there. Yeah, that one. Okay. And, I've got some scars and stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah, we can do another surgery, another surgery, another surgery, another surgery, another surgery. So I don't have to think about it every day when I look in the mirror that a crazy person tried to murder me, and then my whole life went away. So, like when you do a victim's impact statement and you sit there and, hey, how are the ways that your life has been affected by this person's behaviors? And those things aren't any fun to have to list out, but they also are lists that when I cried out to God and I wrote them down and I poured out everything that I was going through to him, and he was able to help me navigate it in a way that makes me feel valuable and loved and whatever. So it sparked in me a desire to want to help other people to feel the way that feels once you come out on the other side of your trauma a whole person again. But I don't necessarily want I don't want the quick fix or the easy answer. I want the growth to go way down deep in the roots first, and then spring up and produce fruits of life. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And I didn't have very much self-control whatsoever. I railroaded and ran over people. And I also wussed out and didn't deal with a lot of my behavior problems. And I have fully repented of all of that. I am a human being who struggles daily with various and assorted aches and pains and irritants and whatever. But I really feel like that if people were able to say, hey, you know, I don't have any friends to talk to right now, or I don't have any healthcare providers that understand what's happening in your body when you're going through trauma. Your body decides to completely shut down all of its systems in order to protect you from too much pain and too much whatever. And so your adrenaline starts surging like crazy, and you start wanting to run away for no reason, or kick somebody's ass who's in line behind you, you know, stuff like that. That's not really healthy behavior. So you end up holding up in your room and not coming out for a week at a time. Or you end up feeling like a waste of skin and trying to blow your brains out, or, you know, those kinds of things. Those things happen to people that have been through the kinds of things that I've been through. And thankfully, my circle of people locked arms and came into the middle of the circle and hugged me and loved me back to life. And Jesus was palpable and could be felt very clearly in the people that I surrounded myself with in Northeast Kansas City, which is like a very scary place to be, quite honestly. But there's no safer place on the planet than the center of God's will for your life. And that's what I'm hopeful that will be able to be seen eventually. So I plan to move to Clinton, Missouri, where my kids live, so that they won't have to uproot or change locations or anything. And I'm finishing my tiny house a little bit at a time, as much as I can, but not being able to feel my hands and not being able to feel my right leg, it feels very unsafe to get up on a ladder and stuff like that. So if you're a praying person, I really wish you would pray about this lot. There's a lot directly behind us that belongs to the city, and I'm trying to get that lot so that I can build a tiny house for the homeless man that has helped me every day build my house for a cup of coffee and some chili, because he knew I didn't have anything. You know, I'll give him a ride to the doctor's office or a bus pass if I have one or whatever, but I haven't had anything for 2 years almost. No money. So, learning to navigate, going from making 25, 30, you know, with my husband's income, probably 50, 60 grand a year sometimes, if we were doing well, to, I made $5,000 last year. And now, you know, my best friend from church has bought my gas and my meals and my cell phone bill because I couldn't get out of bed. So, you know, I couldn't even wipe my own behind when I first got attacked. So it's not like I have a poor work ethic. It's that my entire body and my mind completely betrayed me. And I was unable to do anything. And I was awful to everyone around me, and I alienated every single person that loved me and cared about me, and everybody got burned out and bailed. And that's fine, because it taught me a very valuable lesson in humility. And I'm humbled. I'm broken by it. I know I was a horse's ass, and I promise to live every day that I have left to the fullness of my ability to not be an asshole to people. And that's what I want for my life. And I'm sorry about cussing, but I think it's important that people be transparent. And just because I belong to Jesus doesn't mean I'm perfect or that I'm trying to be or anything like that. It means that I have been there and done that and got the t-shirt and decided to change my t-shirt size because it didn't fit. I've tried multiple types of lifestyles, and the one that really, really, really works for me is being a mom and being a wife and raising critters and kids. Basically, it really feels like that's what I'm supposed to do. But if I can help people navigate the system in such a way that gets their needs met and shows that God is truly a good provider, He's a good father. He really is. He loves us like crazy, even though we are complete jerks. So pass it on if it's touched anything in you. Maybe somebody else needs to hear it too. And like and subscribe, and if you want to. And I really hope to be sharing a little more of my life on a daily basis than I have been lately. And it's not going to be always flowers and rainbows, but here's some flowers that I painted on a window if you want to see something cool. Because this window was broken. It was in a fire. And I thought it was so pretty. And so I saved it. And that's what I do, is I find pretty broken things and I try and make them, let them be broken, but also have them be beautiful. So he gets to keep his scars. But I filled them in enough that hopefully the glass won't fall out of it and land on my head. But if it does, we'll deal with it then. And I got a lot of work to do and not much sunlight left to do it in. So if you happen to be in Northeast Kansas City and you want to come on by, personal message me down below and I will try and get back with you with an address or a phone number if you're not a crazy person that's trying to kill me. Okay, have a good day. Bye.